if there's one thing sports fans love, it's a good clutch moment. Whether it's a last-second goal in soccer, a buzzer beater in basketball, or a 40-foot putt in golf, it's a universal language every sports fan can appreciate. Or it's when you start to debate the most clutch moment, things get heated. But there's actually a simple way to settle this debate. See, how clutch a moment is directly related to pressure. It's why a buzzer beater in the first quarter of a regular season game is far less clutch than that same buzzer beater to decide the NBA Finals. Now, using that logic, there's many sporting moments to choose from. However, there's very few that match the pressure that was on Tiger Woods at the 2005 Masters. From the biggest slump of his career to an entire corporation riding on his performance, standing on the edge of the 16th green, Tiger understood his task. See, even though ahead of him was the most technically challenging shot golf had ever seen, if he pulled it off, the rewards were astronomical. See, this isn't just the story of how a golf shot made Nike over $100 million, it's also how that very same shot saved Tiger Woods' career.
In your life have you seen anything like that?
Now, hearing the word slump associated with mid-2000s Tiger Woods might sound completely insane. However, to understand why the media was calling him washed up, you first have to look at the absolutely impossible standard Tiger had set for himself.
As grand as it gets.
See, heading into 2005 and his 29th birthday, Woods' resume looked completely made up. What you're looking at is a graph that displays golf's all-time greats and their achievements by 29. On the bottom we have tournament wins, and on the side we have career earnings adjusted for inflation. So, for example, we find the more modern greats like Jon Rahm, Rory McIlroy and Scottie Scheffler high on the earnings side of things due to the modern day tournament prizes, with a respectable amount of wins as well. Then, look into the older generation of guys, we see the opposite trend. Guys like Arnold Palmer, Tom Watson and Jack Nicklaus, who racked up an impressive amount of wins due to the reduced field size, but have lower career earnings due to the times. Now, we do have to bear in mind that this is golf we're talking about here. Unlike other sports where guys hit their primes around their mid to late 20s, most of the golfers here have their best years ahead of them. Like Tiger's biggest rival, Phil Mickelson, who at 29 had 13 wins and $40 million in prize money. But compare that to his career stats and that almost quadruples to 45 wins and $150 million earned. So bearing all of that in mind, where do you think Tiger is? Well, considering everyone else playing when Tiger was lands around this cluster with an average of about 12 wins and $40 million earned. Surely he can't be that high. Nope. He's here. When I said his resume was unbelievable, I wasn't joking. Having more combined wins than Scheffler and Nicklaus, with career earnings that match the modern day standards, I can say with good confidence that these numbers will almost certainly never be replicated again. However, this doesn't tell the full story, because even though he had all of these impressive accolades under his belt, as we discussed earlier, Tiger was far from his best heading into the 2005 Masters. As many sports fans know, dominance can't last forever, even if your name is Tiger Woods, and this timeline is designed to visualize the extent of those issues. Ranging from June of 2002 to April of 2005, every dot you see here is an official PGA Tour event, with the bigger dots being major championships. Now, just so we have reference for the type of run Tiger was on at the time, this is what his timeline looked like before June of 2002. Starting from April 99, over the next 3 years, Tiger started in 64 events and won 24 of them. That's a 38% win rate, and for reference, to be considered for the Hall of Fame, a golfer should have a win rate of around 5 to 8%. However, even more incredible though is that on the biggest stage, he only improved. See, over that same 3-year time window, if Tiger Woods entered a major championship, it was literally a coin flip whether he would win the whole thing, with half of his entries resulting in trophies, including the historic Tiger Slam, where he held all 4 majors simultaneously. However, all good things come to an end, as the next 3 years demonstrate. Between June of 2002 and the 2005 Masters, Tiger played in 52 events and won just 10 of them. Now, I say just 10, that still gives him a win percentage of around 20%, which is better than any active PGA Tour player. However, it's almost half the production fans were used to seeing. The pressure wasn't building because of the slight dip in his win total, it was because on the biggest stage, he was nowhere to be seen. See, the reason why this timeline is specifically specifically between June of 02 and April of 05 is because in that almost 3-year time window, the same amount of time he'd previously won 7 majors, Woods was 0 for 10. So when I say the pressure was on heading into the 05 Masters, I meant it. But it wasn't just Tiger feeling the heat. A certain global organisation also needed this win badly, as they were partially to blame for Tiger's sudden dip in form. In the world of sports, fans love nothing more than a young superstar, a once-in-a-generation talent that takes their sport by storm. However, it's the brands that are the ones that are truly obsessed with these athletes. We've all seen the headlines. Brand gives X amount of money to kid before even turning pro. Now, whilst this might seem bizarre in the moment, these deals are often some of the best in sports. This is a visual history of the biggest rookie deals in sports history. Now, the timeline runs across the bottom and the inflation-adjusted annual payouts track up the side. It all starts down here in the left with Michael Jordan, the greatest shooter in history, only guaranteeing him $1.5 million a year in today's money. But once brands realise the power of the superstar, the graph shoots up, like Allen Iverson, who broke the $10 million barrier with Reebok in '96, or Kevin Durant, who pushed it up to $14 million in '07. Or fast forwarding to 2019, we see the brands really started throwing the money around, like the $20 million a year Zion Williamson got before he even stepped onto an NBA court. But when it comes to rookie endorsement deals, almost no one touches LeBron James. See, at just 18 years old, Nike handed him a 7-year, $90 million contract. That's a staggering $22 million a year adjusted for today before he ever played an NBA game. Now, the keen-eyed among you have probably noticed that the vast majority of the names on this chart are basketball players. See, up to this point, the only golfer here is Rory McIlroy, who bagged a $6 million deal before he'd ever got his tour card. But Rory isn't the only golfer on this list, because just like Nike changed the NBA by betting on Michael Jordan, they took an even bigger swing on another unproven kid.
All right, Tiger!
Safely in for his fourth.
See, the world of golf had never quite seen a talent like Tiger's before, so when Woods' agent Hugh Norton sat down with Nike in 1996, he demanded something completely unheard of, a 5-year, $40 million contract that was 100% guaranteed regardless of performance. And combining that with his $20 million deal with Titleist, not only was Woods instantly the highest paid golfer in the world, but to this day it's the largest rookie endorsement deal ever at $24 million a year, accounting for inflation. Now, at 20 years old, Woods was set for life. All he had to do was show up on Sundays wearing a red polo and a swoosh on his hat. And the thing is, if Nike would have just stopped there, the story would have a simple, happy ending. But Nike didn't want to just dress the greatest golfer in the world. They wanted to own his entire swing. And that corporate ambition almost derailed the greatest prime in golf history. See, golf differs from other sports in many different ways. However, one of the more unique ones are the endorsement deals. See, compared to sports like basketball or football where players only have control over their shoes, golfers are a walking billboard. Usually this is broken down into 2 different sections, apparel and equipment. So for example, in '96, Nike endorsed Tiger's apparel with their record-breaking deal, and Titleist handled the equipment, a very common setup for the time. However, in 2000, Nike saw an opportunity. See, selling a $70 polo or hat is great and all, but it's not like you're buying them every time you head out for a round. But you know what you do buy every time? Golf balls. At the time, Tiger and almost the entire PGA Tour played the Titleist Professional. It was a traditional wound ball, meaning it had a liquid center wrapped in tightly wound rubber threads with a soft Bolenta cover. It had great feel, but it also spun too much off the driver, got caught in the wind, and scuffed too easily. So Nike hired a team to work exclusively with Tiger to build his perfect ball, and that's exactly what happened. Remember that timeline from earlier? Well, Tiger put the newly named Nike Tour Accuracy in play around here, right before he went on to win the next 4 majors in a row, completing the Tiger Slam. So Nike now had the best golfer on the planet head to toe in apparel while also using their golf ball. However, there was still one problem though, because whilst Tiger was now using a Nike ball, he was still swinging a Titleist club. which to the average consumer still held a lot of weight. To them, Tiger hitting his God tier 2 iron stinger was all because of Titleist, and Nike was not a fan, so they devised a plan. Now, Tiger was incredibly stubborn about his equipment. At the time, he was using precisely engineered Titleist forged blades, and so Nike's pitch to him was brilliantly simple. Over the course of almost 2 years, a specialized team at Nike hand ground and machined dozens of prototypes. They would then take them to Tiger, he would hit them, complain about the center of gravity being a millimeter off or the sole interacting with the turf poorly, and then the team would go back to the grinding wheel. And Nike made Tiger agree to just one thing. When we bring you a set of clubs that outperform your current Titleist ones, you switch to Nike equipment. And so, after 2 years and hundreds of prototypes, in late 2002, Nike had finally perfected the Nike forged blades. They looked almost identical to Tiger's old Titleist 681s, but Tiger felt the sweet spot was finally dialed in exactly the way he wanted it. And so, with a 26-year-old Tiger at the peak of his powers, now completely rocking Nike apparel and equipment, it was almost certain that Nike was set to take over a $5 billion industry. Well, until everything went wrong. See, timing was not in Nike's favour. It wasn't as simple as just giving Tiger a new golf ball and letting him go on to win 4 majors in a row. This time, things went the complete opposite. Coming back to this timeline, Tiger would replace his Titleist clubs around here in September of 2002. But then came the body break. In December of that year, news broke that Tiger was in some major trouble. See, due to the nature of what made him so good, his surreal power and speed, Tiger's body broke. You see, the source of all that power came from the violent jerk of his left knee, which by the end of 2002 was literally being torn apart. Now, the injury itself resolved quite quickly. However, if Tiger wanted to see any sort of longevity in his career, there was only one option, and it was Nike's worst nightmare. At this point, Nike's entrance into the equipment market was already being criticized. Whether it was the club's fault or not, Tiger had gone from having a 50% win rate at majors over the last 3 years to going 0-4 in 2003. And unfortunately, the easiest thing to blame were his new clubs, but everything was about to go from bad to worse. In March of 2004, in hopes of increasing his longevity, Tiger revealed he was changing his swing. However, fast forwarding to September, and that swing change was looking like a disaster. Tiger was missing fairways by 40 yards, and for the first time in over 5 years, he had to hand over the title of the world's best golfer. See, since entering the golf market with Tiger, Nike's golf department had seen explosive growth, jumping from 60 million in 96 to a staggering 490 in 2002. However, that's when trouble started. See, after signing Tiger to a $100 million contract in 2001 and then releasing the Nike forged blades in the following year, Nike predicted revenue would jump to over $700 million in the next 3 years. However, the reality was far from it. See, in the years following Tiger's slump, revenue only increased by $10 million, with the Nike equipment department specifically actually having a drop in revenue, which is why heading into the 2005 Masters, not only did Tiger desperately need a win to end his 3-year major drought, if Nike wanted to even sniff their projections, they would need a moment of magic. Fortunately though, Tiger seemed rather good at producing those. Stepping onto the tee box of the 16th hole at Augusta National, Tiger was in a precarious position. See, the 05 Masters was played with weather delays, and it was so bad in fact that they actually had to finish Saturday's round on Sunday morning, a session where Tiger went on an unbelievable 7-birdie run, giving him a 3-shot lead heading into the final round. However, by the time he reached the 16th, Tiger had lost his 2-shot lead to his playing partner Chris DeMarco, the pair being at -13 and -12 respectively. Now, the 16th at Augusta is a very bipolar hole. See, things can go very right or very wrong depending on where your ball lands. And unfortunately for Tiger, it was the latter on this Sunday. Stepping up with his 8-iron, Tiger would pull his shot to the left, missing the green completely. Now, this was the worst possible position for 2 reasons. The first was that he was short-sided, meaning he had virtually no green to work with between his ball and the hole, with the green sloping violently away from him him, and the second was the position DeMarco found himself in. See, unlike Tiger, DeMarco had hit a peach of a tee shot and found himself just 15 foot from the hole with a very makeable birdie putt. It then looked inevitable that Tiger was about to lose his lead, and therefore with 2 holes to go the entire tournament. And so with his Nike wedge in hand and the most technically challenging shot in golf ahead of him, not even Tiger could have predicted what would happen next.
Here it comes. Oh my goodness.
Birdie the hole from that impossible position left everyone speechless, and with DeMarco missing his putt, Tiger now had a 2-shot lead, and Nike had their moment. Issue was, it wouldn't matter if Tiger didn't go on to win the whole thing, and it almost came falling apart. After such a magic moment, Tiger's adrenaline was on high and it got to him. On both 17 and 18, he would finish with bogeys while DeMarco would par them both. And just like that, the magic of the 16th hole was erased. Tiger had bogeyed the 2 final holes. The pair were tied at -12 apiece, leading to only one option. Playoff started right back on the 18th hole and the pressure was astronomical. If Tiger lost this playoff, the 16th hole is forgotten. It becomes just a footnote in the story of a monumental collapse. The Nike logo flashing on screen wouldn't be a symbol of greatness, it would be a symbol of a guy who couldn't close the deal. But on the first hole of sudden death, Tiger hit a laser to 15 feet and sank the birdie putt, claiming his 4th green jacket. But he didn't just save his own career that day, he validated the 1.8 seconds of magic on the 16th hole, officially cementing it not just as the greatest shot in golf history, but the single most profitable accident the sports world has ever seen. And Nike knew they had struck gold the second the ball dropped. Chris Mike, Nike's golf director of marketing, was watching the tournament from his basement in Oregon when the shot happened, and he immediately picked up his phone, called a colleague, and essentially said, "I think we've got our next commercial." And so, buying the footage from CBS, roughly 2 weeks later, this is the commercial they came up with.
Here it comes. Oh my goodness.
The combination of the shot's virality and Nike's witty campaign produced unbelievable results. See, remember that graph from earlier? Well, following the Masters, Nike saw revenue jump of $100 million, with the hardware department in particular, who previously was bleeding money, seeing a $60 million rise. But it wasn't just Nike who saw the benefits. Spurred on by the end of his major drought, Tiger would reclaim the #1 spot and not lose it again for another 5 years. If you found this mildly interesting at all, make sure you subscribe and share with a friend.